Hey everyone, my name's Nathan Payne. Welcome to another episode of Coffee and Crypto. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got Miles, head of research, Blue Ocean Games Guild.
It
Thanks
is
for
my
joining us.
pleasure to be here again. I love being on the stage with you.
Yeah, I love having you here, man. I enjoy our conversations, and apparently
Yeah,
so does everyone else. It's a big
I
compliment
well,
we
I've
get.
recently come to know that there are a few viewers out there that are like, "Hey, we actually enjoy your videos, and it's nice to get some of that recognition." So
Yeah,
I don't know. It's nice to feel like somebody else is watching.
that's right. So today I had kind of an interesting one for us. I wanted to talk about what it's going to be like, or our predictions in the play to earn space when the next bull run
Oh,
happens.
okay, that's a question.
So, of course, nothing we say here is financial advice, but I've realized that there's a couple key things that I kind of realized. One, we're gonna have if we've seen kind of the advent or the inception of play to earn really at its height kind of during the last bull run last year. So much new money, new people coming into the space. I mean, a lot of people got wrecked with certain projects. A lot of people made a lot of money. A
There are
lot of
people today still day trading and making loads of money, even
that's
in
right.
even in this market. You know what I mean?
That's
It really
right.
comes down to if you know where to put your money and when.
But something that I noticed too, like there was a lot of not just players in the space, but investors, which makes sense. People wanted to flip and wanting to make money. But it made me realize that when we get this next bull run, and maybe we can talk about this as our first topic, yes, we're going to see a lot of liquidity coming back in. But my concern is actually a lot of these shit projects are going to get liquidity and there's going to be this fake inflation and fake hype. And I'm worried that a lot of people in the space are going to get kind of taken for a ride with some of these projects.
So yes and no is my answer to that. I feel like when I ask any person who plays a lot of video games today that isn't a Web3 gamer if they are even considering playing any Web3 games, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them are like, no, avoid that crap like the plague. I don't want to see that. And I can't really blame them because the things that the whispers that they hear from afar are like, oh, this person lost a bunch of money and that person did a bunch of illegal stuff and this and that and the other thing. And I know that a lot of that is on purpose. So when the next bull run comes around, like, yes, I feel like we'll see quite a few investors interested in making some money and wanting to invest in these projects.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're going to have a pretty hard time from the bottom up getting, gamers to be on board with this. It's from the top down that I think that we're going to get engagement in these projects.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is that from the bottom up, you're not going to see some guy who only has $20 in his pocket, like, what's the next game I'm going to play? And he's going to pick up a skin in Ep.io or something like that overnight.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not going to happen. What I think is going to happen is that from the top down, there's going to be somebody who's like a really important KOL or something like that, or somebody who's a Twitch streamer or a YouTube streamer that gets a lot of views. And they're going to be like approached about a particular game. Hey, would you consider joining our team and playing this game? And that's probably an investor who's backing a team of gamers who's like, hey, we're going to play this game. Do you want to play? You're guaranteed to make some money, whatever it
No,
might be.
it's
That person might agree and say,
okay.
okay, I want to play this game. I'll join your team or whatever. And their fans will go, oh my God, this guy that I really, really admire is going to start playing EV.io. Maybe I should consider playing it. And
Well,
they might be having, a following or have friends who might consider playing that game now as a result of that, et cetera, et cetera. And the
okay.
cascade effect might happen from top to bottom.
I see what you mean. There's actually gives me an opportunity to bring up another issue in this space that I think a lot of people are either aware of or maybe not. Um, Nothing against KOLs. It's one of the most effective forms of marketing in this arena, next to like press releases and stuff. But a lot of KOLs, especially during the last bull run, and this has been proven time over time, were just selling their own bags. So basically, they would get invested in a project, self promote that project, wait for the pump, and then sell on their viewers. And that to me seems very bad.
I don't disagree with you there, but the people who have done that sort of thing, their numbers, their like viewer counts and their subscriber counts and things like that have probably reflected that by now. And I
Not
feel like
really. And
there will
that's the
be
scary part is no, because can you really, can, actually prove it? Not often.
well, my example is like if you go to when we went to like Miami for the Web3 Gamer
Mm-hmm.
Awards, the people who were present there and who were nominated for the best YouTuber or whatever it was that they had the award there,
Mm-hmm.
those people were all pretty legitimate people, and I feel like they're going to continue to gather a following of crypto and non-crypto
Yes, I
people who are
agree.
interested.
Creating a
And from
reputation now.
so it's I think that pretty broad like umbrella, I guess, that's going to have this cascade effect happen if it's going to happen. You know what I mean? It's going to be people who are fans of like Bryson and people like
But I
that
think about the
who
new people coming into the space, like
that's where they're
that's
going
going
to
to be
go. They're going to be like, okay, where do I go to get educated about crypto? And they're going to find,
Maybe
channels like
they
ours and
will.
channels like Bryson's and
Maybe they
channels like on
won't.
YouTube, you know what I mean? Because that's what their friends who are already crypto people are going to be like, this is where you should go.
Maybe. I mean, this is kind of a good point. I'm glad you're discussing this with me because when you first get involved in crypto, if you don't know anybody, you don't know the space, there's two reasons. Firstly, it was money, right? It was That's why we were playing clickers and games that weren't even games because it was like this is profitable, it's making us money. Sure, it's in this little UI game format. Let's do it. Where there wasn't really anything AAA, there wasn't any high quality games, so there wasn't a lot of replayability or fun factor. And then I think that because of the bear run that's happening now, or the that bear market that we're in, as a PR move, which was kind of smart, all these games basically went, "Oh, we're not play to earn, we're play to own." Like own your assets. It's more about the ownership of the assets. It's not about the earnings. But I guarantee you, the moment the bull run happens, that narrative is going to change again, and it's going to be about investment opportunities and return on investments and your APY and kind of like it was. And then from a business perspective and an investor's perspective, it doesn't matter if the game is fun or not. Is it profitable? Can you put X amount of dollars in and yield Y kind of returns? Which is why I'm concerned that some clickers are going to come back, or lower quality projects, because if they manage to get the liquidity, it doesn't matter if the game's fun. And I think there's going to be a split kind of in the industry of all these people who are like, no, we want fun games. We need AAA titles. That's how we're going to onboard Web2 users. But then there's also going to be this whole category of, well, we just threw a game together in like a DeFi protocol or something to make it
So
accessible to make money.
for me, I would think go back to history and how did that play out in history? And at the time of, let's say, 10 to 15 years ago, there was exactly a similar divide going on with the internet. It's like
Yep.
some people were like, yes, we like internet games, we like the internet culture, we like this. And then we had this other group who was like, no, we want to stop the whole internet culture. We want everything to be here and not over there. You know what I mean? And now it's clear, that the internet side won and everything has become sort of compartmentalized on the internet, and
Yes.
the whole Internet of Things happened and all that stuff.
And we will see
Um,
that with blockchain.
and it's guaranteed that we're going to see that with blockchain. And I think that where this divide is with like the whole Wild West bullshit that's going on with crypto right now, and the legitimate things that are being built right now, it's going to be a matter of to a degree, I think it's going to be a matter of hearsay, I guess, like,
Okay.
because a lot of people who are just like I was a year and a half or 2 years ago before I joined this company are going to be like, well, I'm interested in getting into the like crypto space. They're going to go talk to their trusted friends that they know that are crypto people, and be like, okay, give me your Kool-Aid. Let me hear what you have to say. Like,
And that's where
that's where
we
they're,
come in. Like
you know
that's
what I
what I
mean?
really want to help facilitate
Yeah.
is
So that's what I mean. They're going to come to projects like us, and they're going to come to places like Xborg and like because that's where their friends are going to send them. They're going to be like, these are the places that you should go if you want to get the most
information about
information
these
for
projects.
for whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whether it is play games or
And there wasn't
invest or
that
whatever it is.
before. Like
Yeah.
that was
So
something I noticed when
so
we
that's
jumped in.
that's like the big so like I mean history will repeat itself, but when it does, there's going to be these channels now that have all been built. There's going to be these like spaces that have all been built, and there's going to be like easy places for people, because the thing about people, especially people who don't know what they're doing and they're just going into a new place on the internet,
Mhm.
they have an attention span of a maximum of 8 seconds. They just want things to be easy. They want to click a couple of things and it just work itself out for them. And if they can have that, they will follow that through to the end. And if they can't have that, they probably won't follow that thing through to the end, whatever it might be. You know
Well,
what
it's
I mean?
interesting you bring
Whether
that
it's like
up.
a donation or whether it's like a joining an email ad campaign to get a free thing. If it's
Yep.
all easy, they'll do it.
Well,
They'll
look at
hate
what
it,
just
but they'll do
happened
it.
with MetaMask and Unity. So MetaMask and Unity just announced actually just a little while ago that it's integrated within Unity
Right.
now. So people don't have to set up a wallet anymore. You just connect your Google account, connect your Facebook account, connect your Twitter account, like easy login. Now a wallet's created for you. You can start collecting things and do whatever you want.
That's right.
So what I'm actually kind of worried is going to happen is it's going to be so easy to get in this space that we're going to see. And I mean, we know, like, just look at the amount of liquidity in the system right now. The total market cap of all of crypto, it was at nearly 2 trillion. It's like at 1 trillion right now. So, I mean, we can expect easily it matching what it was before, which is doubling, right? And when that doubling happened a while ago, that's when we seen all this money coming into the system that we're going to see that on a much higher level. especially when retail starts getting into crypto. Like, I don't want to get too far off of play to earn conversation here,
Well, you're
but
not though, because retail is breaching the play to earn space through companies like GameStop and things like
that's
that already.
right.
So
That's right.
you're not that far off.
And once there's more regulation, like I know a lot of people, especially in the DeFi space, it's like get away from the banks. But the truth is, once there's more regulation from governments and things are defined clearly, that's when all these big hedge funds and large retail companies are going to start actually putting way more money into the system.
Well, that's an interesting topic too, because the big thing about that is that it's less about regulation of crypto itself and more about regulation about how governments will interact with it.
That's right.
And once that interaction has been established and that regulation, that we're going to call it standardization of
Mm-hmm.
like interaction, I guess, is the thing, then the banks can go and the big investors can go, okay, we know how this is going to work because there's a framework laid out so we can invest in this
That's
and we
right.
know how the
Now
governments
it's
will
not a
treat
high
it.
risk
We know how
asset.
those people will treat it. And so now, exactly, it's not a high
Yep.
risk asset. They can just do the thing and not worry about it
Which is why when you look at it from
and
that
expect the
perspective,
return.
there's a wave coming that I don't even think a lot of people are prepared for. Like we can look back at the history of Bitcoin. That's a really easy one, especially because Bitcoin's usually the thing that introduces people to crypto. And you can go through the chart and you can kind of see, oh, okay,
Well,
oh,
and the
okay.
other,
And you're like, oh, okay, so this has been happening over time. There's been these cycles with these runs. Well, if you were to just extrapolate from the day Bitcoin was launched to today, and you extrapolate that same pattern over the next 10, 20, 30 years, shit looks bananas. And I mean, that's just duplicating what's already happened, not even predicting all this retail money coming in.
that's right.
Or like another good example is, the market cap right now of all of crypto, I think it's like 1.2 trillion or something. Like it's a little bit more than one, but it was up to two. The foreign trade exchange trades $174 trillion every 24 hours.
Yeah, I know.
So just in a
Yeah.
single day, there's 174 times the amount of the entire market cap of crypto being traded. So just imagine even a small portion of that coming over to crypto. This space, I don't think is ready for that. I don't think people are kind of understanding that whole big scope of like, we're still in the baby stages here.
I think a lot of people have gotten used to being able to dawdle because we're in a lull right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I want those very same people to remember how hard it was they were grinding the games that they were excited about and how much attention they were putting and effort they were putting
Yes.
towards this when we were in the bull run last year. And I feel like you'll be, if you can just sort of imagine that that is still going on and it's going to happen again soon, which means it's not like what was happening back then is not really particularly over. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It would help to motivate you to go back in there and to keep doing all the things that you want to do and to play those games and to talk to those people that you want to make partnerships with and build now so that when that does happen, there's channels for the flood. And
Yeah.
you can there'll be places for people to go and you'll expect it. You know what I mean?
Well, I
To a
mean,
degree anyway.
yeah, I mean, look at it's part of our strategy too. If you look at or talk to any major hedge fund, part of their investment thesis is when things are running, sell. When things are down, buy. Do the opposite of the market. Very simple strategy, but very important to all these hedge funds. That's how I'm looking at things right now. It's like this is the time to be picking up the NFTs, to be investing in these early launches, to be picking up some of these governance tokens because it's not super expensive. I mean, Illuvium is a good example. You take a look at their token price. It was like 180 USD at one point, it down to 40, 30, 20. Solana is another good example. Solana was like 100, 150, 200 USD. Now it's like $20. It's like this is the time to start picking those assets up, in my opinion. Once again,
Yeah,
not
you're right.
financial advice, because once that bull run happens, now you're going to be in a way better position. And I've always found it funny that investing is the only industry where when everything goes on sale, people run out of the store.
It's yeah, that's kind of amusing to me too because it's like now is the time when the bullshit is at its lowest
Mm-hmm.
and when the forerunners are at their clearest and when the logic is at its most sound is when no one is listening.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because that's when people are going to say whatever it is that they can say, the best things that they know what to say to try to get people to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's so easy for us to go, okay, these are the guys who are doing the things right now because they're the ones who are making echoes.
Yes.
And this is what they're talking about. And here's why it's important because they're making that very clear right now.
Mm-hmm.
So right now would be the time to go, okay, I like this and I like that and I like this. And a very good example is the award show. The award
Yes.
show is basically a showcase of exactly that.
Yeah.
These are the best forerunners in the space right now. And here's why.
Mm-hmm.
And we got them to talk to us and we want to make this a regular thing and et cetera, et cetera. So now we know there's a regular place where we can go where we can expect to see that sort of thing. And there's it's just like everybody else, they're trying to establish themselves.
Yep.
So if anybody who's an investor or who's a gamer who wants to get interested in some new stuff in it, now is the time to be picking those things up and to be looking at those places, because then when the noise shows up, you'll still be fixated on those things,
That's
and you'll
right.
be able to stay focused and basically do the diamond hands thing that everybody talks about.
Now it's interesting because as a gamer, traditionally the way Web2 games work is you buy a game, you pick it up, you learn it as you go. Even sometimes to the point you don't want any spoilers. You're like, no, I don't want to watch a video. I don't want to know nothing. I'm just going to learn the game as I go. I'm going to enjoy the experience. You can't do that in Web3. It's literally reversed.
You can't do that responsibly in Web3.
Yeah, that's probably a better way to frame it. You need to understand, and the way that I even explain it is you need to master the game before you pick it up. Because if there's an entry barrier of $30,000, like let's use Rory as a good example. If there's an entry barrier of $30,000, you better know how the game's going to work, how the tokenomics operate, what's the team look like, how's their community updates, what's their roadmap. Like you need all those.
You want to know that you're going to
components.
put 2,000 hours into this project if it's going to be something that you're going to spend that sort of money on.
That's right, and it depends on the investor too. Like if that's chump change to them, sure, maybe throw it at it because they feel it's appropriate. It's a good, has potential. But if you're a gamer or just a normal person, that's a lot of money, right? So like, really, I feel like that is as a gamer coming into this space, you kind of have to learn through experience and failure a bit of like, oh, here's a new game, I'm gonna throw some money in. Shit, it didn't work out. Let's try another one. Shit, it didn't work out. And then you start to, and we can attest to this being on the research team. You start to learn more and more about these projects, and then you get to a point you can assess them a lot better.
So yeah, a lot of the research led me to understanding the formula or the recipe, I suppose, for the overarching economic systems that these teams are trying to put
Mm-hmm.
forth, and the evolution of that particular, I guess, meta you would call it, or
Yep. And I
zeitgeist.
look for
It's
innovation.
evolved a lot. It has evolved a lot, and the conversation now is less about isn't going to work and how is it going to work. It's more about interoperability. It's like
Yes.
we want people to be able to do everything and then go from here and go to there and go to here and go to there, and for it to all be smooth.
Yeah.
So how can we accomplish that? And once we have that, if we can accomplish that before the flood happens, then we won't have giant crazy server overloads and gas fees that are astronomical like we did before. We'll have solutions for a lot of that stuff before that all happens, and then when it happens, gas fees will be higher, but not higher out of our control, and game playability won't be affected,
No, gas is a big
and
issue.
people won't be scrambling to find a new solution. And, oh, this is the new solution. It's the new chain or the new side chain or whatever. No, we want to have that established now, and it's clear to a degree, with no advice particular, where those things are.
Yeah.
So if you invest yourself in those spaces now, then you know that you'll have some freedom to make choices later on.
But I know
about what
gamers
you
are
wanna
going to
do,
be lost. New gamers coming to this space are they're without investment background. They're going to have to kind of learn through experience.
Well,
almost
here's
the
a good
hard way.
example. This is my like a real world example.
Mhm.
6 months from now, things are going up a little bit. There's a team of people where one guy doesn't play crypto games, but his friends do, and they play EV.io or something like that. They're going to be like, hey, why don't you check out EV.io? It's a game you can play for not $20 but $100 because the market is up or whatever it might be.
Mhm.
And we have a spare skin that we're not using because we collected a whole bunch when they were cheap. And you can play with us, and we can earn some money, and it's like a really fun game, and whatever. And then the person who does that will start
That's a
learning about Solana. You know
great
what I mean?
situation to be
And
in.
maybe like looking at YouTube videos or going to different Discord channels that relate to Solana.
Mhm.
Example, we might have some videos up at that time, and they might come visit us just to be like,
Yeah.
hey, you guys play EV.io, I'm looking for a team or something like that. Or they just want to see what we're up to when we're streaming sometime. Or
Mhm.
there could be countless other guilds that are doing the same thing as that. And that's where that person is going to find themselves. So those are the channels that I'm really talking about. Those are
Yes.
the places, like, and there's going to be 100,000
right, there's
million
way more
people just like
resources.
that. That's where they're going to go, and
Yeah.
and that's going to be like the I don't understand what I'm doing, I need to know what I'm doing type thing, or I don't understand how to play this game and I want some advice. Place to go is going to be that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think
And
there's way more
10 to 15 years
content.
ago, the analogous version of that would be like GameFAQs or IGN.
Okay.
People don't know what they're doing with video games, or they want to learn a new genre
Yep.
video game, they've never played it before, so they go and find a walkthrough or something like that. Well, now we have Discord channels for that, where there's actually people there playing games, and that's what they do. And instead of writing a review or of like a guide that they made over 3 months, they can actually show them doing that,
Yes.
and that's the difference. So
Yeah, you're right.
that's the difference between 2 and 3 for the web, I guess.
I
right now.
agree
So-
with everything that we've built. We're kind of, and that is why we're building a lot of the things
Right.
we are, because we noticed there's a lack of that in this space. There wasn't any resource we could go to with all these research reports and companies who had provided that. it was on us to figure this all out. And that's actually why we created our whole research department and all
Exactly.
these reports and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But one other thing I want to echo, because I realize this conversation can go on for hours.
I have
This is
no
great.
idea how long this
We're,
video
we're
is.
almost done. But I could definitely tell we could talk for a lot longer. One thing I want to mention is the bear run going on right now. What it's actually doing is it's making the companies that didn't have a good structure or model fall off. So it's kind of like a squeeze. We kind of seen it with the internet bubble when it burst.
Right.
All these not so great companies that really didn't have, like, they had a good idea, but no way to execute, lost all their money, right? Because they just ran out of runway.
So I think it's that same self effect that's going to help educate people who want to know where they should put their stuff later on. They're going to be like, okay, well, where should I, what game should I play? And there's going to be like games established 2020, established 2021. People are going to think back to 2021, realize how bad the market was. And that's when this game established themselves and they're still running, must be decent.
Yeah,
You know what
I
I
do.
mean?
I think
That's where I'm at too. So I think that effect is going to help with the bull run happening later on. People are going to be a little bit more informed in that sense.
Me too, but I'm still generally concerned with the overall fact that a lot of projects are going to come out of nowhere. They're not going to have good backings.
That's a
they're
fact.
Not, and money is still going to go into them. So the
That's a
returns are going to look good. There's going to be FOMO, but then development team goes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's going to be everything looks fantastic for 3 or 4 months and then suddenly they vanish or whatever.
So I think what you just said was a perfect example. Is attach yourself or get involved with projects that have gone through these cycles. Like I remember seeing a meme once, and maybe I'll end it here on this in a couple seconds, but it was like, you can't say you've been in crypto until you've experienced your first crypto winter.
Yeah, fact.
Right? Like once you've kind of made it through your first crypto winter, now you have a better scope of this space and kind of understand these ups and downs. Because when it's going up, everyone just wants to throw money at it. And then when it's going down, everyone's afraid because they sell.
That's right.
And it's going to be really interesting to see this next bull run, because I know all the most popular projects are going to get a ton of liquidity. Illuvium, Star Atlas, The Born List, Mafia, like the ones that are already doing well, EV.io, establishing themselves and have the popularity is where most people will attach to first.
Right.
But then we're also going to have all these new projects pop up out of nowhere. That's what I'm concerned about, is like, how do we help people navigate during that to make sure we're not, and even us, we don't want to just jump into FOMO with some of these new projects.
That's right. We have to be careful where we put our attention in the future.
Yeah.
That's a big reason why I think we're going to establish the research sort of voting system that we're going to have. I'm not sure exactly what to call it yet, but we're going to have users that are members of our society or members of our group, who are part of our membership program, able to vote on what things that they think we should research next.
That's
and that
right.
will also be a good indicator for us.
And bring projects to us to research.
That's
so
right.
That they can vet it, like let us vet the project.
And with that system, I think we'll find more stuff than we can possibly put our eyes on at one time that is of good quality. So.
Me too. Well, thanks so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you for having me. It was my pleasure.
Yeah, it was great to kind of just talk about the state of the market and what's going to be happening, as opposed to some projects and stuff. I think this was hopefully very insightful for a lot of you guys watching. And obviously we have a lot that we could say about this. So maybe we'll have to do a follow-up one on the state of the market, maybe every quarter or something we can do.
That's not a bad idea.
Something like that. So thanks so much for joining us today. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not. And thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Cheers. Don't forget about our 1,000 subscriber giveaway, where you can win $200. And if you need more information, be sure to join us on our Discord. See you there.